Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to descend into the abyss of cosmic horror and face an entity whose very existence is a curse upon every concept of freedom, hope, and life. We are talking about Darkseid, but not an ordinary alien lord from the planet Apocalypse. We are talking about his true power level, about Darkseid's scaling, an entity that has transcended the limits of physics, time, and space to become an immutable law of the multiverse. An entity for whom every attempt you make to resist is merely a part of his eternal plan. When you look into those blazing red eyes that emit the Omega beams, you are not simply looking at destruction. You are looking at the end of every possibility, the erasure of every choice, and the cold assertion that free will is nothing more than a mathematical illusion. Darkseid, whose real name is Uxus, is one of the new gods, born from the Source Wall and existing alongside the formation of the multiverse itself. However, calling him a living being would be a severe understatement. Darkseid is not merely an individual, he is the embodiment of evil, the personification of tyranny and absolute control. In the DC universe, the new gods are not simply stronger than ordinary beings. They are living ideas, and Darkseid is the most terrifying idea of all. His power structure is divided into two distinct tiers that we must clearly differentiate in order to gain an accurate understanding of his scaling. The first tier is the avatars, or manifestations, of Darkseid. These are the entities we commonly see facing off against the Justice League or Superman. These avatars contain only a small portion of the power of the true Darkseid and are sent to different universes to carry out his will. Even at this level, a Darkseid avatar possesses enough physical strength to level planets, withstand blows, capable of shattering atomic structures, and wield the Omega effect, an energy that can pursue its target across all dimensions of space and time and erase them completely from existence. However, the second tier is what makes Darkseid one of the most powerful entities in history. That is, true Darkseid, or the true Darkseid. This entity does not exist within the three-dimensional space or linear timeline that we understand. True Darkseid exists beyond the multiverse, in a place known as the Source Wall, where all creative and destructive energies converge. He is a conceptual entity, an eternal idea. True Darkseid's power is not measured by whether he can punch apart a star or a galaxy, because those concepts are far too insignificant for him. His power is measured by his ability to manipulate reality, time, and the very nature of existence itself. When we talk about Darkseid's scaling, we are talking about an outerversal entity, an entity that exists beyond all limitations of space and time within the multiverse. He is not bound by the laws of physics because he is himself a part of the metaphysical foundation that gives rise to those laws. Omega. This is not simply a laser or a form of thermal energy. The Omega effect is the embodiment of Darkseid's will to destroy. It can automatically track its target, cannot be stopped by any physical or energy-based barrier, and most importantly, it can erase a target from every timeline, past, present, and future. During his battle with Superman, we saw how the Omega effect operates. Superman, with physical strength capable of moving planets, attempted to fight Darkseid. But Darkseid did not need to struggle. He only needed to look, and the Omega beams would find their way to their target. In some versions, the Omega beams can even resurrect, transform, or imprison a victim's soul within an eternal hellish loop known as the Omega Sanction. Look at the events of Rock of Ages, one of the clearest demonstrations of Darkseid's multiversal scaling. During this event, Darkseid acquired the Mobius Chair, a tool that allowed him to see and manipulate every timeline in the multiverse. With this power, Darkseid did not merely threaten a single Earth, he altered the entire history of the multiverse, creating a reality in which he had won, where the Justice League had been destroyed, and darkness had consumed everything. The power displayed here was not physical strength, but reality manipulation on a multiversal level. He could rewrite the past, present, and future with nothing more than a thought. This places Darkseid in an entirely different class from enemies who can only destroy planets. But the pinnacle of the horror, and also the clearest evidence of the power of true Darkseid, is the Final Crisis event. This is where we must take his scaling truly seriously. In Final Crisis, Darkseid was shot by Batman with a bullet containing radion, a deadly substance to the new gods. Darkseid fell. But his fall was not an ordinary physical defeat. Because true Darkseid exists beyond time, his death on Earth was not an ending, but the beginning of the collapse of the multiverse. When Darkseid fell, he fell through time. His colossal body fell through the ages, through different universes, and the sheer conceptual weight of his presence alone began to fracture the structure of reality. The skies of the multiverse began to crack like glass. Parallel universes began to collapse and merge with one another. This proves beyond dispute that true Darkseid is greater than the multiverse itself. His existence is simply too vast. During this event, Darkseid used the anti-life equation. This was not a spell or a technological weapon. The anti-life equation is an absolute mathematical and philosophical truth, proving that free will is an illusion, that every choice is meaningless, and that absolute submission is the only natural state of the universe. When Darkseid unleashed the equation, it did not attack the body. It attacked the very soul and consciousness of every living being. The strongest heroes, the most unbreakable wills, all began to collapse. Not because they had been physically defeated, but because their reality itself had been rewritten. They came to believe that the struggle was meaningless. This is a level of psychological and conceptual power that no physical entity could ever achieve. Darkseid does not need to kill his enemies. He only needs to strip away their will to live and fight, turning them into willing slaves within the realm of despair. Furthermore, in Final Crisis, we also witness Darkseid manipulate death itself, the Black Racer. The Black Racer is a conceptual entity, the embodiment of inevitable death in the DC universe. Darkseid did not defeat the Black Racer through sheer power. He used deception and the power of his will to seize control of the Black Racer, turning death into a hound, a personal weapon to destroy the other new gods. The fact that an entity could capture and control a fundamental concept of the universe, such as death, demonstrates that Darkseid operates on a level of power where the laws of nature are merely tools for him to use. Another demonstration of Darkseid's scaling comes from his battle with the Spectre, the embodiment of God's wrath in the DC universe. The Spectre possesses near omnipotent power, with the ability to alter reality, erase souls, and manipulate matter on a multiversal level. In one confrontation, the Spectre attempted to judge and destroy Darkseid. However, Darkseid was not erased. Instead, he stood his ground, and the clash between these two conceptual entities created shockwaves that shook the source wall. This confirms that Darkseid is not a being who can be judged or destroyed by ordinary spiritual laws. He is a pillar of cosmic balance, a necessary counterforce to creation. If the Spectre is the judgment of light, then Darkseid is the absolute denial of darkness. And in the event known as the Darkseid War, Darkseid faced the Anti-Monitor, the entity that had once destroyed countless universes during Crisis on Infinite Earths. The Anti-Monitor is a multiversal threat of the highest level, a being that consumes universes to increase its power. However, Darkseid did not regard the Anti-Monitor as an equal threat, but as a tool, a stepping stone. During the battle, Darkseid absorbed the power of the Godhead, becoming an entity even greater than his ordinary form. He brutally defeated the Anti-Monitor, not through a prolonged battle, but through absolute superiority in conceptual power. The key to Darkseid's scaling lies in understanding his nature as an idea, and Darkseid is the idea of absolute control and evil. Darkseid will exist. This makes him immortal in a way that even regenerative entities such as Wolverine or Hulk cannot compare to. Darkseid's immortality is the immortality of a concept. Even if all of his avatars are destroyed, even if Apocalypse is reduced to ashes, true Darkseid will still sit there, beyond time, waiting for the moment when the weakness of humanity and the gods once again opens the door for him to enter. The moment when Darkseid's horror is displayed most clearly and brutally is not through explosions or punches, but through the silence of absolute surrender. Let us return to the climax of Final Crisis, when Darkseid took control of the body of Dan Turpin, an ordinary police officer, to serve as a temporary vessel for his consciousness on Earth. That human body could not contain the essence of a new god, and it began to decay. But in those final moments, Darkseid did not panic. He simply sat there in a dark room and unleashed the anti-life equation. Only a terrifying silence spread like a wave. The heroes, the ones who had always stood against evil, began to kneel. Not because they were forced through physical power, but because their minds had been convinced that fighting was meaningless. Superman, the symbol of hope, felt his legs grow heavy, his will being eroded by an undeniable mathematical truth that every effort amounted to zero. Batman, the man with the strongest will of all, had to use that Radion bullet, not to save the world in the conventional way, but as a final act of cosmic civil disobedience. Darkseid had turned the universe into a mirror, reflecting its own despair, and he stood there, smiling, as the world willingly stepped into darkness. Even when Batman fired that fateful shot, it was only a delay. Darkseid declared that he would return, that his fall was merely a part of his eternal cycle, and that everything was him. And the most terrifying part is that he was right. When we compare Darkseid to other cosmic entities, we see a clear difference. Galactus may consume planets, but he is still bound by biological needs and the laws of the universe. Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet can snap his fingers and erase half of the universe, but that power is borrowed from the Infinity Stones, and Thanos himself remains a physical being who can be harmed. Darkseid needs no tool. His very nature is the tool. The Omega Effect and the anti-life equation are not weapons he holds, they are natural extensions of his own will. He is not merely a cruel lord, he is a cosmic constant, a conceptual entity existing beyond time and space, possessing the power to manipulate reality, will, and the very essence of life itself, on a multiversal and beyond multiversal level. Any battle with Darkseid is not a physical battle, but a battle for the survival of the very concept of freedom. He is so powerful that death itself must stay away, so powerful that the gods must tremble, and so powerful that his very existence is an eternal challenge to every meaning of life. And now, I want to hear your opinions. After taking a deep look at Darkseid's scaling, from his avatars to true Darkseid, from the Omega Effect to the anti-life equation, what do you think about his position? Or do you believe that, just as Darkseid himself has declared, all resistance is ultimately meaningless and that he is always the victor across every timeline? Share your deepest arguments and thoughts in the comments below. I am looking forward to reading the diverse perspectives from our community. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Your support is a tremendous source of motivation for us to continue researching and bringing you high-quality content with carefully crafted visuals and audio. Thank you for joining us on today's journey into the abyss of power and horror. Goodbye, and see you again.